today we are talking about food. So we talked about the mind. Now we got to talk a little bit about the body. And so really one of the things that we want to do is we want to be very intentional in the kitchen, right? We want to be intentional in the kitchen so that we are actually eating food. So the definition of food is a substance that you eat or drink that provides nutrients that sustain growth and maintenance of the body. So with that definition, I think we can probably think of a lot of things that we eat that we call food that do not actually provide for our body an opportunity for growth and maintenance, right? Proper growth and proper maintenance of healthy cells. So one of the things that does do that are things that grow. That is like the number one, things that have fiber. So all fresh, alive, and vibrant foods have fiber. And so those are the kind of foods that we can actually call food and really work into our daily routine as much as possible. So one of those things is parsnips. Kind of looks like a carrot, but it's a little bit different. And what I'm going to do here is I've already washed them and I'm just going to cut off the ends. See, I've got my new knife. You guys have seen me in the kitchen before. You know that I have that crazy short knife with like a broken tip. But I went and got the Cutco knife, which is super exciting. So I'm going to take my parsnips and I'm just going to slice them. Awesome. So now that I've got a flat place, there we go. And I'm going to throw them in my air fryer. I love my air fryer. Just have the Ninja Max. You do not need an air fryer to eat healthy. That is 100% not what you need. Okay, so why is it going there? Cool. However, I do have one and I love this little guy because it's so simple and so easy. So I'm the only one home right now. I work at the high school in the morning and then the kids home in the afternoon and the evening. So at lunchtime, it's just me. And oftentimes I'll have leftovers because I like to cook and batch, but sometimes I like to have my food fresh and it's just me, right? So it's like, well, what am I going to do? Go cook up a bunch of stuff? Sometimes I do that, but sometimes I just want it quick and easy. So my air fryer is wonderful for that. So I just have this little guy in here and I'm going to put my parsnips just right there on the top. And I'm just going to keep cutting them here. And if anybody knows me, you be knowing I be loving my parsnips. And people are like, what even is that? So we call them little parsnip fries. You can do the same thing with carrots. Just kind of slice them up like this. I don't know if this was the best knife for this particular vegetable. I've never used it before. But hey, you know, it'll get the job done. So I'm just slicing it up in these little and you can make them a little thinner if you want to. It just depends on how you like them. Obviously, the thinner that you make something, the more surface area, the quicker it's going to cook. I'm just throwing stuff all over the place. I'm getting so excited, you guys. I'm so excited to be live with you. It's so fun. All right, so getting some parsnips. Parsnips kind of taste like, honestly, parsnips kind of taste like a flower. It's like very floral. If you ever had one, it kind of smells a little bit like a carrot, and it kind of tastes a little bit like a garden. They're really nice. And if you season them properly, which is just with salt, then they're really nice. You don't even have to do anything fancy with them. All right, some parsnip action. Cool. And then, so this is going to be my veggie. I'm also going to have some salad. I'm going to show you the kind of salad that I really love. And we're also going to do some salmon. And the cool thing about that is I'm just going to put the parsnips on for a little while I'm kind of cutting up some of my other veggies and things. And then I'm going to put the salmon just right on top. So I've got some oil. I'm just going to spray just a little bit. I've got some salt, just regular salt. I think this is actually kosher sea salt. Whatever salt that you got. All right, get some salt in there. Air fryer on, and I do air fry. So there's a couple different settings. There's max crisp, air fry, air roast, air broil, bake, reheat, and dehydrate. So I'm just going to put it on air fry, which is temperature 390, and just press start. So every few minutes, I'm going to come in and kind of shake it up a little. You don't typically have to do that if you put it on the grill, because then the air circulates through and it cooks it all around. But I'm going to put it on the bottom. So I took this out. So all my parsnips are going to be on the bottom. And then when they were all about 5 minutes done, till they're done, I'm going to put this right on top, and then I'm going to put the salmon right on top of that to cook, and then it will finish cooking all together. It's going to be awesome. All right, so while that's going, we always want to have balance, right? I like to think of the way that I eat to lose weight. It's going to be the same as I eat to maintain my weight. The difference between being in the weight loss mode and the maintenance mode is very small. And the reason why that is so freaking effective, like way more effective than going on a cleanse, doing a juice, doing a fast, taking some pills, starving yourself, doing keto, doing whatever. Any of those things where it's like, hey, let's get the weight off really quick. And then what? And then you have to go learn a whole nother way of eating. You got to go learn a whole nother way of relating to food in your mind. And now you're like at this other weight. And there's other things that go on when your weight is different, right? And you kind of want to go on with stuff, but now you can't because you didn't learn what you needed to learn in the first place to make it easy. You know, I heard this saying, this guy said that my best self, right? The best me that I can be, right? When I meet that person, I want that person to be like my twin. I want it to be where I'm looking in the eyes of somebody that I recognize, that I know, that I understand. I don't want it to be a stranger, right? And so it's really important that as we're continuing to improve ourselves, that we're remembering that, right? We want to step up and be our best selves every day that we possibly can. All right. So one of the things in terms of having a balanced meal is I want to have a little bit of fruit. I want to have a little bit of veggie. I want to have a little bit of healthy fat. I want to have a little protein. It's just about balance. So I think to myself, all right, what kind of fruit do I want to have for lunch? And this is one of my favorites. This is an envy apple. Apples are so different. And I think that so many people, you just have like flavors, taste buds, they're different, right? We don't all want to eat exactly the same stuff. However, it's going to be similar type of things that are beneficial for our bodies. For example, fruits and veggies, things that grow, things that have fiber and vitamins and minerals and nutrients and enzymes and antioxidants and all of these amazing things that allow our body and our mind to be strong and healthy and clear and vibrant. So with that in mind, you can, of course, be unique, right? You could have an apple, you could have a pear, you could have a banana, you could have some grapes, you could have, you know, whatever the heck kind of fruit you want. For me, it's usually an envy apple. This is my jam. This is my jam. So this knife is like really intense. I usually use like a little paring knife, you know what I mean? Like a little mini one, and I come in here and I do it like this. This knife is way too big to do that. All right, so I'm going to get another one too, but for now, work with what you got. All right, so I like to slice up my apple. I guess if you wanted to eat it just right off, you could do it however you like. You like thick chunks, you like thin chunks, you can do it however you want, which is so awesome. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little lemon on it. Now, lemon is not only awesome on apples because then you got the sweetness of the apple and then like the tart sourness of the lemon. And that combination, that flavor combination, the sweet and the sour is freaking awesome. I mean, they make candy to like mimic real life when really all you got to do is get an apple and squeeze some lemon on it. And then what happens is that the apple doesn't brown. And so you can leave it out for a couple minutes, which is what I really like because I like my apples in the fridge so that they're nice and crisp and cold, and then they also last longer. But I'm getting older, my teeth are sensitive. I don't really like to have my apple like right out of the refrigerator like that cold. So this is one of the first things I do is I cut up my apple, I put some lemon on it. That's good for digestion. The lemon is good for flavor. It's good for alkalizing the system. So things that are, we have like a system in our blood likes to be like a 7.4 in alkalinity. Obviously your stomach is super acid because it's got all the juices in there and it needs to digest stuff. But all the different organs and systems of your body have a different acidity level that they like to be at. Well, how we get and manage acidity levels is with minerals. Well, minerals come from the ground. So when you eat fruits and veggies that have minerals, and some meats do too, because it gets stored in the the muscles of the animal. But typically, as we get minerals from vegetables and fruits, and so those minerals are alkalizing. They help balance the system. So things that are very high in alkalinity, so your blood likes to be a 7.4. We got very alkaline things, we got very acidic things. So on the very alkaline things are going to be like the green vegetables, right? You're going to get like spinach and kale and things like that are going to be very alkalizing. And then on the very acidic level, we're going to have things like coffee and meat and sugar. And so you can see how if your diet is very high in these acidic types of foods, then if you're continuing to eat them, the blood has to be to 7.4 alkalinity or you will get sick and die and go into a coma, right? 7.4 and that's it. So to keep that balance, what the body does is it takes minerals from other organs if it needs to. If we're not consistently replenishing with fresh fruits and fresh veggies and things that have minerals naturally in the natural balance that God made it, then what happens is our body has to rob them from the bones, has to take them from the organs, and we end up being depleted in different minerals, and then our skin gets weird and we get all kinds of disorders and diseases, and it's no bueno, no bueno. So sugar and flour and caffeine and meats, you know, they're not, especially sugar, it's used to be called, what was it? Empty calories, total BS, hard BS. It is not empty calories. The sugar is actually an anti-nutrient for the reason that I just explained, plus a couple other ones as well, because it's not just the minerals that they rob your body from. Okay, so again, we're getting into the groove here, right? Like we're educating ourselves, we're understanding a little bit more. We got our apple, which is wonderful. Let's get a little salad going on here too. Do you have to eat salad to be healthy? No, you do not. Should you eat raw veggies on a regular basis because they have specific enzymes that your body needs and certain nutrients? Yes, absolutely. Does it have to be lettuce? No. Does it have to be a boring salad? No, of course not. Make it fun. So my amazing salad that I absolutely love, and it is packed full of crazy nutrition, is this herb. Organic fresh herb salad, Safeway, $5. I mean, look at this giant thing. It's amazing. So inside of here is baby lettuce, green leaf, green oak, Lola Rosa, red butter, red leaf, red oak, tango, baby greens, green chard, red chard, arugula, kale, mizuna, spinach, tatsoi, frisee, radicchio, cilantro, dill, and Italian parsley. Amen. That is some jam right here. I swear, ladies, if you live somewhere where this does not exist, call me, give me your address. I will send you a package in the mail overnight. It is that good. It's that good. All right. So I have my little scale here, just so you know. I know. When we're just starting out, or even if we're not just starting out, the idea of like weighing our food seems obnoxious, right? It's like, I already got to weigh my body and I don't freaking like that. I don't want to weigh my food. I definitely don't want to weigh my food. But I'll tell you, there is an incredible amount of peace of mind that comes from knowing that I have the proper portions, right? Because then I don't have to think about it later. It's like, well, did I get enough? Didn't I? I'm still a little bit hungry. Maybe I should have this. And, and all of that chatter, that chitter chatter in the mind about what's going on. It's like, listen, I eat 3 meals a day. I keep it really simple. I eat lots of fruits and veggies. I get some fat. I get some protein. I get balanced meals 3 times a day. I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to die. There's always another meal. So there's a way to kind of reframe the way that we're thinking about things to really support us. And getting my proper portions is one of them. Because Lord knows, depending on my mood, this bowl full of lettuce might seem like a lot, or it might seem like it ain't enough. And it's sometimes, all the time, because I'm weighing it, it's the exact same amount. So it kind of depends, especially those of us who have really spent a lot of time nurturing our emotional needs with food. It depends on the day. So you know what? I just keep it clean. I do 2 ounces of lettuce. All right. So I got my bowl. I'm just going to zero it out there. I'm going to look at my little parsnip fries. And it kind of starting to look good, right? Getting a little color. Just going to mix them up a little and keep them rolling. All right, so all of this beautiful, look at all of the minerals, the vitamins, the nutrients, the enzymes, the antioxidants. Did you know that spinach and kale actually have more protein per calorie, right? I mean, 2 cups of this is only 15 calories, but per calorie, than chicken or steak. Is that wild? More protein. So we don't even realize sometimes how incredibly vibrant real food is. Real food. This is the kind of food that gives my body the vitamins, the minerals, the nutrients, the enzymes, the antioxidants, the fiber, the water, the protein, literally everything that my body needs to maintain growth and health and vitality, right? Because the reality is your body is healthy. And if it's not, then there's something blocking that. Its natural tendency is to cleanse, is to regenerate, is to rejuvenate, is to heal, is to grow, is to be alive. All living things are growing and going towards the sun, right? Even if we're like stuck in the dirt and it feels like there's a lot of dirt here and I'm not really sure where the sun is, all things go towards the light. Our bodies are trying to heal and do the best that we can. So get that other crap out of the way, right? Service our system with the good things that our body needs. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. All right. So one of the things that I love to have on my salad is some balsamic vinegar. I really like this one because it's not like so thick like the glazes where you're like, this is like not actually too thick, but it's not super runny and like super tart sour like some of the balsamics. It's like right in the middle. It's called super dense. I think I got that at Whole Foods. So I just like to put a little in there and a little on the top. And then to season it, I use a Mrs. Dash. And this is just the OG, original Mrs. Dash. And I just throw this right on top. And the combination, the flavor combination of this lettuce with this seasoning is just magical. Magical. Okay, so this is my beautiful salad. I'm going to set this aside to be eaten when we're ready. Yeah, we got our parsnips. They're still cooking. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, and I'm just going to put, this is like the grill that I'm going to put the salmon on and put it right on top of those veggies. And I am just going to take a little bit of stick because this metal is, it's not non-stick, right? It's some kind of whatever it is. I'm just going to squirt it real quick with this oil so that the salmon doesn't stick too bad. There is skin on the bottom of the salmon, so it's going to take an extra couple of minutes to cook. If it didn't have the skin, then it would cook way quicker. So just pause that. So I'm going to come in here and it just kind of fits right on the top, right up on my little parsnips. And I'm going to take my salmon, skin side down. I'm just going to put it right on the top there. I'm going to spray a tiny bit of oil. I'm going to just rub that around, just a little squirt. And I'm going to put some salt. Anytime that you're making fish, you always want to make sure that you salt it. And that's another thing about salt, ladies. When we are eating real food consistently, not sugar and flour and wine and dessert and all of this stuff, then you don't really have to worry about salt anymore. I know it's crazy. It's totally like taboo to say that. So I'm going to turn this up. Not the temperature, just the time. I'm going to put it back to about 12, 13 minutes, right? And the salmon will be ready. So give me a second. I just want to make sure I wash my hands. Always wash your hands anytime you are dealing with any kind of meat. raw meat, whether it's chicken, fish, steak, turkey, any of that stuff. You don't want to be cross-contaminating your life. All right, so about salt. So what happens is that the kidneys are one of the organs that are responsible for maintaining your sodium, potassium levels. And when we're eating a bunch of sugar, the kidneys get backed up, they get blocked up, and they can't do their job properly. And so you do need to lower your salt content, especially if you have some heart issues and are on some medications and different things like that. But what's really cool about when we clean up our diet 100%, there's a lot of things that we don't have to worry about anymore, and salt is one of them, which is so nice. Okay, so I am going to, hey ladies, so nice to see you all. I am going to share screen, and while this is cooking, we are going to, wait, where do I want to be? There we go. So let me undo that. Okay, there we go, perfect. All righty. So let's talk a little bit about a couple more details about food and what's going on, and then I'm happy to take some questions. Should you have any questions? All right, so day 4, woo! Bye-bye Battle of the Bulge. Hello, body you love. Let's work in it. All right, work in it. All right, go down. There we go, awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the mistakes that keep women stuck in that dieting roller coaster going on and on and on. One of the people that really changed both, my life and my mom's life is a man named Dr. Robert Lustig. You probably have seen in the back room, in the back over there, there's a book. It's called Fat Chance Cookbook. And so that's a cookbook that my mom, Cindy Gershom, put together with Dr. Lustig, because he did the science behind sugar and dopamine and the addictive nature of sugar and what's going on in our liver and fatty liver syndrome and all of these things that were going on with people and children. And so he wrote a book like, hey, you guys need to know this. This was like 10 plus years ago, 10, 12, 13 years ago. And so people really loved the book, but then they asked, well, then what? Like, what's up? What? You give me all of this information, but like, what do I actually do in the kitchen? And so he met my mom at a training that he was doing for doctors, where he was training other pediatricians, her husband, who was a pediatrician, and he was training them, and he was, sharing with them this information and how to help their clients that are struggling, or their patients that were struggling. And so when she met him, she had been off sugar for a little while, but she always thought that there was something wrong with her, right? That she was really the only one, that there was something morally and physically wrong with her that was different than other people. She had a lot of eating disorders, a lot of issues, a lot of problems. She was about 100 pounds overweight and struggled very deeply, physically and emotionally. And when he explained the science to her, and that really it's our bodies have been hijacked. Again, it's not just empty calories. The sugar, the flour, the coloring, the chemicals, the preservatives, all of that stuff literally changes your physiology. So the way in which our body then responds to more, the way in which our body and the systems inside of our brain and the signals that get sent out, it changes the dynamic. It changes the way that it happens. And so it's not a moral issue, he said. You cannot fight your physiology. If you are starving, even though you are eating, quote, food, if the food that you're eating has no nutritional value, then your brain will continue to tell you that you're starving. And that's what happened with one of Dr. Oz's patients that he had on. This woman was 450 pounds. And he did all the blood work. He checked every organ, everything. And he came out, Dr. Oz, he was like shocked because of course, looking at her, you'd be like, oh, you got this problem, this problem, this problem. And he said, your organs are actually pretty healthy, but you got one thing that's going on here, one thing wrong. And she just looked and said, doctor, what? Like, help me. And he said, you're malnourished. You're literally starving. You're literally 450 pounds and starving. No wonder you can't stop eating. You cannot fight your physiology. You have to give your body time to heal. You have to give your body time to heal. Okay, and this, this is another, phrase that he coined. Lustig is so good with words. It's amazing. You should totally read his books. He's got a new one out called Metabolical. It's amazing. He connects how our medical system and our health care, sick care system and our food system have all been in cahoots, and it ain't working out. It ain't working out for our health. You know what I'm saying? You ladies know what I'm saying. Okay, because a calorie is not a calorie. This is not the same. Exercise more, eat less is not going to work if what you're putting in your body is robbing you of nutrients and making you hungry and starving all day long. So when we get our hormones out of balance, when we have autoimmune disorders, when we have, weight fluctuations, when we have all these crazy cravings and hunger and cravings and sleep disorders, all of this stuff is really due to the signals inside of our brain, inside of our body getting crossed. It is confused. Our poor body doesn't even know what to do. And it's kind of like air traffic control, right? And if somebody came in and just, started having a party inside of there, and you're like, wait, where's this plane going? What's going on over here? And they're calling in, but they're not getting the right signal. They're like, oh, you're cool. The planes start to crash, and we get all kinds of crazy symptoms that go on, when really everything that we eat, everything that we drink, everything that we think, and that's where the hypnosis comes in, and everything that we do, including the conversations and the support group that we have or don't have with each other, right? All of these things, they work separately very nicely, but combined together, it's like the sum is greater, or the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So when we have all of these things flowing, because it's not just the diet, and it's not just the quitting drinking, and it's not just the getting your mind right, and it's not just go exercise, right? It's all of these things working in congruence together. It's the same thing with food. It's not just the salad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can eat salad every day. That's good, right? Especially if it's this one. It's freaking awesome. But it's not going to solve all of the problems. So I'm just going to look over here what's going on, because it is, we're having some salmon smoke out going on. Awesome. Okay. So this was one of the things that I already talked to you about. You can, when your signals are getting crossed, you could be starving, but not really even know it. So these two ladies have a similar diagnosis. It's malnutrition. So really what I want is for you guys to have an experience like Bonnie, right? Or like April, two of the ladies that I have worked with. And April was like, it's so simple, the way that you eat and the way that you have put things together. The hypnosis is so powerful. It's like, she's like, I feel like I hit the jackpot. It just is, something that I've struggled with for so long. So April lost that 15 pounds that she was trying to lose for how many of her years, going back and forth and all around, has gone on with her life. And Miss Bonnie, she's just doing absolutely wonderful. Bonnie, this is a pair of pants, and maybe you ladies can relate to this, that she bought, and she was too nervous to try them on. All right, she got them online, and they came, and they just sat in her closet for month after month after month after month, and she just didn't want to be disappointed. And she started with my program, and she started, the head clears, the body calms down, the mind calms down, you get rid of all the processed stuff, you start to feel a little bit better. And she's like, all right, you guys, she shared with us in the group. She's like, I have these pair of pants. I'm like, you go get them and put them on. And she did. And she posted the pictures for us all to share in the joy, which was really powerful. So we're going to skip that for now. So just so that you ladies know, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Right? So we can want something, and yet that's the big picture. That's the vision. Totally important. That's like the 50,000 foot view, where we're looking at like where it is that we want to go. Amazing. It's like, I want to go to New York. We were talking about this yesterday. Well, cool. You got to get in the car. First, you got to turn it on. Then you got to go get gas. Then you got to take a left here. You got to get on the right freeway. You got to do all these things. So a plan is backtracking from the goal and being intentional about every step that you take, knowing that it's going to lead you to where it is that you want to be eventually, and noticing the different things along the way that let you know that you're on the right path. Right. And that's why it can be so powerful and beneficial to travel the road with somebody else. Hopefully someone else who's already been down that road before, or somebody that has a map. So very powerful. So I'm just going to show you real quick a couple of things to make it really simple. So Dr. Lustig and my mom and about 10 other people, pediatricians, nutritionists, scientists, doctors, nutrition teachers, there's 10 to 15 people that got together. This was several years ago. And they're like, okay, we need to make it simple for people because this freaking nutrition craziness is out of control. I mean, literally anything you can think of, there's somebody who has some kind of a degree that's like, this is the way. So they're like, okay, let's collaborate minds. We all have different ideas about what's super important. Let's bring it down to the 3 things that if people just did these 3 things, they would be able to improve their health exponentially, just a powerful transformation in their life and their health. And what they came up with, it actually thought they were just going to sit there for an hour and like hash it out. It took them 6 months. 6 months, they couldn't agree, but they finally did agree. And the 3 things that they came to understand actually matter is when we're reading a label. Because if the food doesn't have a label, this one does have a label because it's got a box around it. But when you go to the grocery store, this beautiful envy apple that I got don't have no label. Why? It doesn't need one. It's real food. That lemon that I got doesn't have a label. Why? It doesn't need one. It's real food. Real food is fresh, alive, and vibrant. It's got vitamins, minerals, nutrients, enzymes, antioxidants, fiber, water, everything that your body needs to function properly. It is real food. Things that have been packaged and processed in a processing plant, not made in a plant, but in a processing plant, those things have labels. Dr. Lustig calls them warning labels. And it is your responsibility to be able to read that label properly. So there are 3 things that you want to look at when you're looking at a label to identify if the thing that you're going to be eating is a real food or not. Sugar, fiber, and fat. These are the most important things when reading a food warning label. So the first thing is going to be the sugar. And you got to think about this. How many desserts do you want to eat in a day? How many desserts do you think a healthy person eats in a day? Now, I've asked this question to kindergartners and to people in retirement homes. All right, let's see. I got the beep, which is so cool about. All right, we're going to have to go get the temperature because you never want to eat meat. Let's unshare here real quick. You never want to eat meat or fish or anything like that hasn't been cooked to the proper temperature. Make sure that anything that was funky in there gets destroyed in the heat. It gets killed, any bacteria. So I got my little thermometer. I'm going to stick it right here in the middle of my salmon and make sure that it's proper temperature. All right, so what's going on? It looks like, I'll show you. That's always fun. It looks like, I don't think you can see that with the glare, but it's 110. It's creeping up. 120. All right, so it looks like it's going to need a couple more minutes because I want it to be 140. So I'm just going to put it right back in there. I'm going to come down on the time now because I definitely don't want it to be that long. So we're going to do like 4 minutes. Cool. I'm going to let that roll. All right. So let's cruise back to where we were at. Okay. Dessert. Yes, absolutely. So of course I had, one kid one time say 18 desserts a day is what I want. And I'm like, dude, totally. When I was your age, I probably was eating 18 desserts a day or more because I just have had sugar addiction since I was a little kid, and they put me on the apple juice at, I think I was one or 2 years old. And for like 2 years, I had the runs so bad, they kept taking me to the doctors, but nobody knew it was the apple juice. They said like keep her hydrated. And of course, all I wanted was apple juice and orange juice, lots of juice. So this poor body just had a run of it when I was little. So desserts, how many desserts a day to stay healthy? Obviously, we know this answer. It's 0 or maybe 1, right? Like occasionally, a couple times a week, you have 1 dessert. Okay, well, when you're reading a label and you're looking at the ingredient list, did you know that the very first ingredient in the ingredient list is the thing that's in that product the most by weight? Not volume, by weight. See? Even food processing people weigh their food. It's not crazy, ladies. It's totally normal. Okay. So what's in there, the first ingredient is what's in there the most by weight. The second is the second most by weight, and so on and so forth. So as you're cruising down the ingredient list, there's less and less of whatever that ingredient is. So by the time you're at the bottom, it's probably just, a sprinkle. So would you agree then that if sugar in all of its 140 names, and when I first started doing this, there was only 40, and then there was 60, and then there was 90, now there's 140 because they just keep taking and extracting and start having new names for sugar. But would you agree if there's added sugar in the first 3 ingredients of a product, that you can consider that product a dessert? Right? If the thing, it has sugar as the very first ingredient, the most by weight, we can consider that a dessert. Okay, well then what sorts of things are desserts? And this is the challenge that I'm going to give you today. Go looking in your pantry, go looking in your refrigerator, go looking at foods that have a food label, and see if you can identify sugar in the first 3 ingredients of something that you went, what the heck? Why is there sugar in my peanut butter? Why is there sugar in my soy sauce? Why is there sugar in my tomato sauce? I don't need sugar in that. This here is tomato sauce. You can see tomato puree. And then in parentheses is what they mean by tomato puree. So that's all that is one ingredient. The next one is diced tomatoes. Awesome. So that's tomatoes and citric acid, which is vitamin C. Awesome. Third ingredient, sugar. Oy vey, mama, come on. If I pour this on my pasta or my, I'm not gonna eat pasta, but if I poured that on my zoodles, right, my zucchini noodles, I just made that beautiful dish that could have been so vibrant and healthy. I just made it a dessert. Well, gosh darn it, that wasn't what I wanted to do. So to be intentional about the food that we're putting in our bodies, and remember, sugar is addictive and it keeps a shelf life and it keeps us coming back for more. So anytime that we can get something without added sugar in it, your body is going to love you and thank you. Your mind, you're gonna have less cravings, less sleep issues, less problems. All right, let's move on. So that's number 1, sugar in the first 3 ingredients. It's a dessert. Gosh darn it, if you're gonna eat dessert, I suppose eat dessert. But if you don't know that you're eating dessert, then you should know. All right, fiber. So fiber. The thing is that real food, according to Dr. Lustig, always has at least 3 grams of fiber per 100 calories. Are there exceptions? Sure, of course. I think there's an exception here or there. But when you start looking, real food has 3 grams of fiber per 100 calories. Well, let's check that out, Rose. Prove it. All right, well, check out my salad. So the serving size is 2 cups. It's 15 calories for 2 cups. And there's 1 gram of dietary fiber. That's freaking awesome. So is that 3 per 100 calories? Sure is. In fact, if it's 1 for every 15, so it's 15, 30, 45, 60 times 6. So it's 6. That would be 6. Hallelujahs. Yes. So real food, again, has at least 3 grams of fiber per 100 calories. So if you are only eating foods that are real, then that really knocks out a lot of things. It knocks out a lot of things. Okay, so let's carry on. The next thing is label reading. Okay, so label reading is what we're doing. The next thing is trans fats. No trans fats, really, ever. This is the thing about trans fats. We need fat. We need fat from things like avocado and salmon and nuts and seeds. And we need fats for many reasons. One, our brain is a lot of fat. We need fat for our neurons, our synapses. There are fat soluble vitamins, vitamins A, D, E, K, CoQ10 for your heart, right? So your skin, I mean, every part of your body needs fat soluble vitamins. Fat soluble meaning your body needs the healthy fats and the right structure to take those vitamins to the cells that need them. If you do not have that, so like when we all went fat free in the 80s and the 90s, one of the things that we did, among a bunch of other gnarly things for the body, is our body didn't have what it needs to transport vitamins A, D, E, K, and CoQ10, and probably a bunch of other things that we don't even know yet, to the cells that need them. We end up being deficient, and we end up being hungry, and then we end up binging, and then we all ate a bunch of sugar, and it was crazy. So what happens is that your body does need fat. Now, not all fat is created equal. If you are eating the fats, trans fats, which are going to be the things like the donuts and the pastas and the cakes and the pizzas and the French fries and all the fried things, right? If you're going to be eating fats like that, the structure of the molecule has been transformed to keep a long shelf life, to keep things crunchy and crispy on the outside and soft and squishy on the inside. Let me give you an example. A churro. The very first ingredient in a churro is trans fats. It's that crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. A deep fried French fries, whatever, deep fried chicken, like all of that stuff. Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside, long shelf life. And so the molecule itself has been denatured, it's been changed to keep stability, which is cool for a shelf life and for the type of flavor and texture and consistency that we've grown to like. But what happens is that inside the body can't break it down properly, and it can't actually regenerate it. It can't be used to transport those nutrients, those vitamins, to the cells that need them. It can't be used to remake the membranes of the 50 million cells a second that you are regenerating and rejuvenating inside of your body. The membrane of the cells get denatured, even if it can somehow figure out how to do it. It's denatured. It's not the way that it needs to be. So you end up trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And it's like, well, I got the peg and I got the hole and it should be fine. And your body's like, but yeah, dude, but it don't fit right. Like this, it's not working. Plus the trans fats get stuck and caught in your arteries, raises your bad cholesterol, lowers your good cholesterol, and it just creates a lot of problems. It's a dysfunctional cell when we eat like that. So no trans fats. Okay, so we got sugar. Sugar in the first three ingredients is a dessert. So, be intentional about what you're eating. Read your labels. 3 grams of fiber per 100 calories. There is one thing that I eat that does not have 3 grams of fiber per 100 calories, and that's rice cakes. And I don't eat them that often. They're like, I don't even know what they are. They're like nothing. I really should find something else that's like nice and crunchy in the morning to have with my fruit. But that's the one thing I can think of that like, you're like, what even is this? It's rotten. It's not even really, it's not food, but it's not unhealthy, but it's not really doing much for you, but it's a nice crunch. So anyway, and then of course the trans fats. Make sure that the fats that you're getting are healthy and vibrant and have other nutrients attached to them. That's the thing about trans fats. There are no nutrients attached to those. Real fats, right, from the avocados, the nuts, the seeds, the salmons, the oils, things like that, they have other nutrients that are combined. Those vitamins that we were talking about, A, D, E, K, all of those vitamins tend to travel with the fats that your body needs to transport them through your system. It's like a freaking miracle. It's not a miracle. It's Mother Nature. It's God made food perfect for our body. So let's stop baking and frying and messing it all up and just go back to what Mother Nature and God had intended for us in the first place. Because you know what? We're looking for peace of mind here, right? Like undo the shackles, because we know that it's more than a number. It's more than a size. It's more than the food, but the food is really important. Okay, so let's stop the share here. And I'm going to turn you back around so that we can finish up what we're doing here with the goodness. Oh, the goodness. Oh, my head's chopped off. I don't want my head chopped off. All right. So see my apple, so beautiful. It stayed nice and fresh this whole time that we've been chatting and talking and cooking and doing all kinds of cool stuff. We've got the salmon. Look how amazing that salmon looks. So I think it ended up being, what was that? So I did 14 plus 4 minutes. So that was 18 minutes. We'll just check on that. I've got a new plate here, which is totally awesome. This was actually a gift from a friend for my birthday, which is so sweet, so thoughtful. So again, I'm just going to portion it out properly so I don't have to wonder, I don't have to think about it. I know that I'm getting exactly what my body needs. I'm going to zero that out. Oh, I know the puppies are getting hungry too. Can you hear them? They're so cute. Well, I need to grab a fork. Okay, perfect. We are at 160. That's actually a little bit maybe overcooked. So I'm just going to come in here. Just going to grab, let's actually grab this whole thing. Can we grab this whole thing without it falling over? Cool. Look at that. Heck yeah. Oh my goodness. And I've got some parsnip fries going on there. All right. Very nice. All right, perfect. We've got our salmon, our beautiful piece of salmon. So I'm just going to zero that out. So a serving size for me, for my salmon, is going to be 4 perfect ounces. There we go. Perfection. All right, ladies. So we've got some salmon, we've got some parsnip fries, we've got an apple, and we've got a beautiful little salad. Woo-wee. All right, balanced, healthy, delicious, and you can see it's an incredible amount of food. It's an incredible amount of food. We should not be hungry. We should not be starving. We should not be wishing that there was more and more and more. So awesome. I know. I love that little thing. So fun. All righty. So now let's open up for comments, for questions. I would love to hear from you ladies on anything that you would like to add to what I have said. Yes, ma'am. Anne, come on in.
Hey, how are you today?
Good to see you.
Good. How come you don't put any other veggies on your salads?
That's just my preference. I go through phases. Like sometimes I really like cucumbers and tomatoes and carrots and like other things. And sometimes I don't. So it just kind of, I mix it up. I vary it, but I tend to go through like phases where it's like 3 months, I'll get like obsessed with something. Like remember when I did those jicama shells, and I had those jicama shells like every single day with the hummus. And sometimes I had it with tofu. Sometimes I had it with chicken, sometimes with salmon. I had jicama shells. I was like obsessed. And now I'm like, I don't want to eat that. I don't want that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you had other veggies, you would just you would just weigh those along with the lettuce. So obviously to have less lettuce and instead have the other veggies.
Right. I mean, it totally depends. So when it comes to my veggie, I keep it pretty flexible with the cooked or the raw. I know that I need some raw veggies every day because you need the enzymes. Your body really likes it. It's fresh, it's alive. Unless you've got like diverticulitis or like other digestive issues where you really need to stay away from especially lettuce. I mean, there's always there are some reasons to stay away from that, but generally speaking, the body loves raw fruits and veggies. And so whatever my portion is for my veggies for that day, I just mix and match it with cooked and raw and just kind of, you know, end up having the amount that I need. Typically though, even if I'm doing like a salad with other raw veggies, I usually always do 2 ounces of lettuce. And then if I'm going to have the other stuff on it, I do. But again,
Okay.
that's total preference. That's just my habit. You know, someone
Okay.
told me that and I just did it and always did it.
Okay. That's all I can think of right now. We're fighting COVID again.
Oh shit, again? How I didn't even know you could get it again.
Well, it's not that Jim and I got it again, but Abby got it from the
Oh,
lady she takes care of.
oh yeah, yeah.
And yesterday I was racing around. I missed your call yesterday because I was racing around getting Willow tested, and Willow's now positive.
Oh,
So she's missing like a month of school. She's going to be virtual. We've done 2 weeks already.
wow.
So yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
But how is her health? Is she suffering with it or is she just,
No,
you know,
not at
no
all.
symptoms? She's like,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it was with my son too. He was like, you know, he was down for like maybe a day. He's like, I don't really feel good. I'm gonna watch TV. And then he was fine. It's like,
Right.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to
All
hear
right.
that though, Anne. It's a lot. It feels stressful.
Yeah, it does. So we had to cancel our getaway this weekend. So I hope to be here tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Thank you.
silver lining.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Anne. All right. Any other ladies? Do you have any some tips, tricks, questions? Anything you want to share?
Hi.
Hi.
We're going to make Candace. Remember her little thing with the garbanzo beans and celery and feta cheese and stuff?
Oh, that looks totally fun. That looks bizarre. Wait, so it's celery sticks.
Yeah, it's
So
celery
that would be your
sticks,
veggie.
yeah, it's chickpeas, yogurt, a little mayo, feta cheese, lemon juice, dill, garlic salt, basil, sea salt, onion.
Wow. You're going to have to tell us how that is because that is a combination of food I would never in my wildest dreams have
Well, we
put
got it
together.
from Chandra. She
Oh,
posted
Chan.
it.
Mm-hmm.
She
Cool.
posted it. She said she had that with her fruit and stuff, and that was her lunch.
Yeah.
So we're
I
gonna try
love it.
We're gonna try that.
So much we can do with real food. I mean, it never ends. And Pinterest and people who are super creative in the kitchen, like it's just awesome.
Yeah.
I tend to like if I'm going to do something wild like that, that's a weekend thing. That's like a fun. I've got a few extra hours to try something new. Like for me, like it's like I just got to keep it simple. Like here's my veggie, here's my protein, here's my fruit. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, so it looks interesting. It looks good.
yeah, that looks awesome. Yeah, keep us posted on that for sure.
So our computer's about ready to go. We forgot to charge it after we worked out today virtually. So, and sorry we weren't here yesterday, but we were at the cemetery.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, which was a good day.
Glad that you.
We made chicken cacciatore yesterday.
Oh.
And the crock pot, yeah, it was
Yeah.
really easy. And it's just chicken and bell pepper and onion and tomatoes
Perfect.
and stuff. So, yeah, and had a salad with it. We didn't have, yeah.
That's awesome. So Janice, you're helping. You're being consistent, helping. I like it.
Yeah, I did the chicken. I got it all together yesterday morning.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm happy to hear that.
that's a good recipe.
and it's simple. And you just put it all in.
You know what's so funny? Crock pot, like I have one. I've always had one. I literally think that I've carried this thing around with me for many moves. I have never used it.
Oh, well.
I don't know what I have a total like phobia of a crock pot. Like the air fryer, obviously I got down with the air fryer. I like did a whole air fryer challenge with you ladies. But if there's something about a crock pot, I'm just going to have to do it. I'm just going to have to grab a recipe, maybe give me your chicken cacciatore one,
Yeah,
and I'm just
I'll
going to
post it. I'll post
make it
that.
happen.
Because it's real simple and it's
Or
6
make
hours,
soup.
you know.
Make a big
Yeah.
pot of soup
Yeah.
in your crock pot.
Yeah. Yeah. Chili. Can you do chili in there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See, I usually do chili in the pot, but I can try
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Then you can add more veggies and yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
thank you, ladies. I'm glad that you're here. Nice to see you.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Margie, you've got some words. Chan, you're probably working. You're probably just watching from a
So I'll just say that it's true. There's so much food, you get full easy. And I find as I'm cooking, like if I'm cooking a regular food for Johnny, like just I think it was just yesterday, I made Swedish meatballs for him, and I didn't want to make pasta or potatoes, so I did the cauliflower mash.
mhm.
And so we pretty much adapted it to, you know, no wheat, no flour, no sugar, whatever. So as you're moving around in the kitchen, you can find tons of alternatives.
Totally.
You know,
yeah,
it's fun.
it
It's
can be. Yeah.
it's fun. And you know what? When I post, like now I'm getting questions like, you should do a food show or a cooking show. And like everybody gets excited about healthy food. And it's just like you just have to pick to do it.
It's totally innate. Like it lives inside of us. Every single cell of our body is invigorated with real food. It's not so awesome if we just get a box of veggies from the farmer's thing. You know what I mean? How you can get the box that comes to you. And if you look at it and you don't know what to do with it and you're not really creative in the kitchen, that can feel not invigorating, right? Where you're just like, I don't even know. But when you take the time, or when somebody actually is there and presenting it to you, it's what's so great about social media, about Pinterest, about, you sharing your stuff, is like when you actually see it and you're like, oh, well, that actually looks good. Well, I could probably do that. Like now I get it, right? Because every cell is invigorated by it. I remember years ago, my mom has been eating this way for like 20 years, and I was not for a really long time. But anytime we would travel together, I would order what I always order, because that's what I order, because that's what I think I like, right? Mac and cheese or whatever stuff I was ordering. And she would always order like the way that we eat, right? With like clean, fresh, alive, vibrant, not always, because you're going to need like butter and other weird stuff at restaurants and things like that. But always fresh, alive, and vibrant, always some veggies, always some fruit, always some meat, always something that just is so colorful. And it was like over and over and over and over and over again, I would be wanting to like pick off her plate, which of course she would not let me. But it always looked so good. Every time I was like, man, next time I'm just going to order how you order. Right. And it was finally, that's how it actually started, and how I lost 10 pounds to begin with, is I was traveling around Australia with my mom, and I'm like, well, I'll just have what you're having. Right. I'll just have what you're having. And it just started. I didn't even realize how foggy my brain was, or how like down my body felt, until I started eating differently. I didn't even notice that there was that big of a connection. Really powerful. So yeah. So it's my lunchtime, ladies. My food's getting cold. I love you. Mwah. All right. Post in the group if you find something in your cabinet, in your closet. Check those labels. right? So if you see something, you're like, what is their sugar doing in there? Take a picture of it and post it in the group. I want to see it. All right. Love you. See you tomorrow.